What happened on 9/11?
9/11 was the culmination of a number of events that led up to it. There was an organization called Al-Qaeda. They were a terrorist group. They were based in Afghanistan, and they wanted to attack the United States and had in previous times. They did this plan that took many years for them to develop, and eventually it resulted in what happened on 9/11 with the attacks in New York and Washington.
September 11, 2001 is a tragic day in U.S. history. On that day, the United States was attacked by an organization called Al-Qaeda. They attacked in New York City, the World Trade Centers, and they attacked the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and the third plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. So on that day, the United States came under attack. The United States of America, President George Bush, he was in Sarasota at the time. He was at Booker Elementary School, and the president had to be taken out of Sarasota quickly in order to get back to Washington, D.C. and deal with the aftermath of that tragic day.
It's important that we take a moment to stop and reflect on 9/11 every year, not just the 20th anniversary. This is a time to remember that 9/11 2001, 2,977 citizens from all different countries were murdered by a terrorist organization.
When I first found out about the first plane hitting one of the towers, I was at a high school in New Jersey, and at first we thought it was just a mistake, a plane hit by accident. And then I went into a meeting. When I came out of that meeting, I found out there was a second plane that hit the second tower, and at that point, I think we all realized that this was a terrorist attack.
What do you remember about that day?
Oh my goodness. I remember it being just kind of a disbelief, a shock, of what was actually happening.
What I remember that day, obviously the tragedy of the day, but once we realized about the terrorist attacks, we had a lot of our parents come to pick up their students and their kids and bring them home. And I remember the eerie silence of the day.
I was living in Brooklyn, New York at that time, and I lived directly across from the Twin Towers. In fact, the view out of my window was the Twin Towers. While I wasn't certainly in Manhattan, watching it happen across the East River from Brooklyn, it gave it an interesting perspective. But I do know it was so shocking and surreal because in the morning, the towers were there. And that evening, as many of us were on our rooftops watching that first sunset without them, it was very bizarre to see that these two buildings had vanished.
What was the personal impact on 9/11 for you?
For me personally, it was to the younger generations of my family. I was 38 years old when 9/11 happened, and had children growing up in middle school and high school ages. And also my nephews and nieces were in middle school. These young men up here are my nephews, and all of them have gone into the military. And a lot of that is a direct result of the impacts of 9/11. They realized the need for stepping up and doing their duty for their country.